Welcome to the Rent Roll Queen podcast. I'm your host, Tarsi Taylor. Running a real estate business can be tricky with so many aspects to navigate. In this podcast series, I am going through everything that you need to know about running a real estate business, whether you're a seasoned real estate business owner, new business owner, or somebody trying to get into entrepreneurship. This podcast is for you. We're working through social media, buying and selling rent rolls, and how to have a profitable business. So follow, like, and subscribe, and don't miss an episode, and don't forget to share this with your friends in real estate. Welcome to the Rent Roll Queen podcast. I'm your host, Tarsi Taylor, and today is our very first episode. So thank you for joining us. And I would love to welcome my very first guest, Peter. Welcome to the show.
It's lovely to be here, Tarsi. I'm your first guest.
You are my very first guest.
Okay, we better make this a good one then.
Oh, it will be a good one because today we're talking about leadership and I'm super excited to be talking about it. But firstly, can you please introduce yourself?
So Peter Camphin's my name. I run a small consultancy business in Brisbane. Consult to a number of different agency groups, franchising and independents. And I've been in this industry for, it's getting close to 50 years now, Tarsi. I know that's a bit strange. But
that's amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And still hopefully providing some value to those who are out there in the industry.
Yeah.
In the very beginning of my career, my father used to say to me that youth is wasted on the young, which really used to annoy me. But I think it's probably that wisdom's lost on the people who've been around for a while. And so if I can give something back to the community in the agency industry, then that gives me a whole lot of satisfaction doing that. So being a property manager, salesperson, a principal owner, I worked with the White family for just on 30 years in the franchising side of things. And I still consult to a number of their businesses. So I have a wonderful memories of that work, and also with the Loan Market Group with Sam White. So it's all involved with agency and finance, and it's still continuing. So,
well, you do a lot of work around the leadership space with different leaders. Mm-hmm. What makes an effective real estate leader?
I think the first thing of understanding the role of a leader is that you are actually a leader. So some of them, well, the majority of them don't really accept the fact that they're in the business of leadership.
Yeah.
And if you go back to the very beginning of businesses, as soon as you employ one person or you have somebody that reports to you, well, you're in the business of leadership.
Yes.
And then your role is to develop people and build teams and develop a culture and all the things that come with leadership. And it's trying to keep it simple. Look, there's 1,000 books on leadership you can read. All you got to do is go to Audible and put in word leadership, all these wonderful things that come up, and we do it differently. But there are some really key indicators or key things that everybody needs to understand. The first one is that you accept the fact that you actually are a leader, and therein lies the responsibility for moving forward.
Yes.
And in our industry, because the majority of businesses, the people who start real estate businesses come out of a sales background, and they're very, very good salespeople, most of them. And the transition from being a great sales producer to a leader can take some time. We all move at different stages to get to there.
And we all make mistakes as well.
Of course. I mean, you look at some, I've made hundreds of them and probably still do. But as long as you don't keep making the same one over and over again. Yeah. But I think acknowledging the fact that you are in the business of leadership, and that's what the responsibility is. And so many people come into the industry and they really buy themselves a full-time job as a salesperson and never transition over to the leadership side. And that's the reason why you go into a business, is to develop people and develop teams.
It is, and I see a lot of business owners holding people back because there's staff members that really want to move into, say, sales or property management, and they, BDMing, etc. And the business owner, I feel, has a genuine fear around letting go.
Well, there's this lead by example. I'm the best. If in my business in Sydney, I was the number one salesperson and the owner of the business for many years. And I thought, well, it took me a while to realise that you go into business to be in business.
Yep.
And I get it. A lot of our principles are really important in terms of the sales role to generate the income stream and keep that income pump going. But, what's your real role? What are you supposed to do when you're there? And when you see those associates that come in, new people into the industry, if they aren't given the time that's required for them to develop their skills and understand, the steps of where they're going in the future. Because the new guys who start, the younger girls and boys that come in as associates, well, they want to be where the lead agents are about 5 minutes after they've joined. Yes. So dealing with the patience issue and understanding to them from a sales perspective that you can't move up the chain unless you can show to us that you can bring stock in. And once you've done that, which is prospecting. So what are the owners of the businesses, the leaders within inside those businesses doing to help them understand the career path? Because that's what they're doing, is offering them a career path.
That's right.
And if they don't take the time to induct them properly, to give them a good overview of what it's going to be like over the next 2 to 3 years, then you're quite irresponsible. And so many people are lost to the industry because they're probably in the right business. They're in the right industry. They're just in the wrong office.
When did you pick up on, it's actually time for me to step out of being the dominant salesperson in this business and really lead this team?
Yeah, it took time because I started so young. Because ego has a lot to do with this when you start your own business, and you want to have, all the auction boards out there. You want to be able to sort of say, I'm the leader here.
Yeah.
And that's by example, which is good. But how do I transfer my skills and my knowledge into someone who's new and develop 5 of me rather than me trying to do it? Because there's other people out there who can do it better than I can.
Yeah.
So that's understanding that role. When did that happen? It would have been 7 or 8 years into the program, and it was actually one of the chief auctioneers at the LJ Hooker company in Sydney, John Hunter, who came out to me and said, you think you run a pretty good business, don't you? And I thought, oh, yeah, mate, I'm doing well here, got all these auctions going. And so he put me in his car and we drove around and went to 5 or 6 other LJ Hooker businesses in Sydney. And when I came back, I just thought, this is rubbish, what I've got compared to. So they'd been a lot further advanced in their careers.
Yeah.
Recruitment, development, training, that's my role.
Yeah.
And I didn't see myself as a trainer. And he taught me that the resources of the franchisor are there to supplement my role, and my responsibility is to train the people who are inside my business.
Yeah. So were you so busy working on your business versus in your business, or, in your business versus on your business? That's what you were doing?
I was, and that's what you do when you first open up.
Yeah.
But there's a time that comes in the journey where you think, I didn't want to be a full-time salesperson. I should have just stayed a salesperson, not just a sale, but, importantly making that decision.
Yeah.
And some of the people can't let go. They're principals and owners of businesses, but they're so good at selling that they employ other people to do the job of developing the team. And that can be a successful way of doing it as well. But the real joy in leadership is taking raw talent and developing them into something that's quite special. And their achievements and the way that they grow in their career, to me, has been, in all the teams that I've run, that is the most satisfying part of leadership for me.
Yeah.
And I think that when I see all the different people who came through when I was running Ray-Watt in Victoria or New Zealand or here, that now run businesses, very successful businesses, and you think, I remember when they started. Not that you're well up, but you think, it's really nice to be part of that journey for them.
Yeah, so you became a mentor, and once you started mentoring, that's where the pride is, right? Because then you go, oh, my God, look at what I helped create, and they're flying. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just like this simple pride thing.
It is extremely proud of people that I know that. And it was people in the franchising world who are running businesses would look at the corporate team and say, who are these people?
Yeah,
we're at the coalface here. And these guys, these trainers here. And I used to cop that all the time. And I thought, I don't really need to prove to anybody I can listen and sell houses or run a property management portfolio. I know that I can do that. This is a different coalface. So watching the development of that raw talent and seeing what it's developed into, and some of them are running the best businesses in the country. Yes. I mean, how good's that,
Definitely.
And I had my mentors as well, the people that, if you want to learn how to do something really well, find people who do it really well and spend time with them.
Yeah.
And that's that chat with John Hunter, he said, you need to network with the people who are really good at what they do in running businesses. And I did. And when I joined the Ray White Group and met Bruce Ingray, for example, who was a tremendous leader, and of course, working with Brian White for 30 years was just it was such a wonderful experience. I learned so much from him. All about leadership.
Yes.
And he had a very pragmatic and a very fundamental way of looking at leadership, which all of us adopted. And one of the key elements of leadership is the curiosity that you possess in looking into your business is how you might be able to get it better or get the people that you've got better than what they actually do.
Yeah.
So, his mantra was that if you're not curious about something, you're fundamentally disinterested. So if you're not interested, do something else.
That's a great one. No, that's absolutely brilliant.
Everybody, whoever looks at this particular podcast and knows and has worked in the corporate offices with the White family would know the influence and the effect that his way of doing things is. It has had a significant effect on all of us.
Yeah, what I love is, he built leaders, then you've gone and built leaders.
Yeah.
And then they're going to go and build leaders. So everyone becomes a mentor to the next generation.
Yeah. But it's understanding what your responsibility is. It's not about me as the leader. It's about the people underneath me. If something's wrong in the team, don't look for excuses of them. Look in the mirror because if something's wrong, then it's your responsibility.
Yeah.
And particularly with your recruiting people. And so often I'd hear people like real estate agents who run businesses, that salesperson's been with me for 3 months. They owe me $15,000 on a debit and credit. They're absolutely hopeless. I've got to get rid of them. And my question to them is, well, whose fault's that? You're the one who selected them. You saw something in them that you thought, gee, there's some promise here. I can develop someone here, but you didn't spend any time with them.
That's right.
So it's really, you have to take responsibility for that.
Yeah.
And it's such a disappointing thing where you see great talent that is lost to the industry through poor leadership.
And then we complain that we've got a labour shortage. So,
Yeah, look, and I'm not criticising those. It is a difficult transition to make it. I haven't got all the answers to this, but I know that if you are bringing people into your business, you must spend time with them and helping them develop into the potential that they've got.
Oh, look, I totally agree with that. And I'll be the first to say I have a control freak issue that I've had to start learning to let go of in order to basically start to 10x my business. So it's like one of those where in the end it was like I can't do everything.
No, that's true. Well, you can't.
Well, I can, but it won't be done very well.
The other thing is that, sometimes they might do a better job at it than you.
That's right, and that's what I want.
Yeah, but how much time do you put into that? And, the old question is that statement is, what if I bring them in and I train them and they leave?
Oh, there's so many that are so scared of that. But I just feel like it's your job as a business owner to become that mentor. Like that's the goal.
The responsibility.
Yeah.
But the flip side of that is that what if they come in and I don't train them and they stay?
Yeah.
So we have to put those resources in place.
Yeah.
And when you look at the ones that offer great, not just great remuneration, but also really high recognition, training and development, and for the individual, that creates a really strong culture of caring inside the business. And it's not get in the corner and bring me in these listings. Let's both get in the corner and work out how we're going to do this.
Yeah.
So it's how you look at the leadership role. It's not one of a dictatorship. It's one of a supportive culture.
That's right. And, at the end of the day, when you start thinking about even just that, right, like imagine if everyone had the same mindset of imagine if I train them and they stay.
Yeah, that's right.
And then all of a sudden, if they do leave, the guy goes down the road or the girl comes over from across the road, but they're all trained. So you're getting a totally different talent.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And people will leave and they get drafted away from certain things.
Yeah.
It's high commission rates is obviously a real attraction. You think, well, I'm not really getting any value out of this person. And the owners think, do they realise where they've come from? If it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Think, well, they're leaving for a reason.
Yeah.
And what is it?
Yeah.
And is it because of they're getting something from someone else? or there's a change in culture, or your attention to detail, or your interest levels and care levels for those people has gone.
So what would you say to somebody who is obviously they're in a business role and they do want to grow their business and they do want to become a good leader? Like, what would you say to them? What's the first step for them?
Well, I think accepting the fact that you are in the business of leadership and then say, well, how am I developing that myself? So what books are you reading? What conferences you're going to? Who else you're meeting with? Other leaders out there? There's so much great talent out there in the field, and anybody that runs a great business who's a good leader, and you ring them and say, I'd love to have a coffee with you and just talk about some of the things that you do inside your business.
Yeah.
I haven't met anybody who just said, no, I'm not interested, particularly when they're outside of their area.
Yeah, right.
Because people are proud of how they do that and build the business. But in the very simplistic, and I'm just thinking back to the Brian White days, was that it was owners or leaders know what it is that they want to achieve.
Yeah.
And they're very clear on that. And a lot of people aren't clear on that.
That's right.
Is that, what do you want from your business? What do you expect from these people? Having a clear understanding of what it is that you want.
Yeah.
And also making sure that all the people inside the business have got their own plan, their own strategy. They're ambitious. They've got energy and enthusiasm to do this, and nurturing that and providing the training where there's a skills deficiency. So knowing that you're providing the resources to back up, that it's all about the people. That's, there's a number of key elements to a real estate business, and people is number one.
Yes.
Without them, good people, then you've got nothing. And, throughout the industry, there's always a lot of people who refer to Jim Collins as good to great and talking about, who have you got on the bus? Are they sitting in the right seats?
Yes.
And who put them there? What are you going to do with them? So getting the team together. I know we're talking about teams in another meeting, but it's important that you develop the resources to be able to develop that team, and that's the responsibility of the leader to do that.
Yeah. So anyone who's thinking about, growing their business, first of all, get your goal setting right.
That's right.
Actually figure where you want to drive the bus. And then make sure that you're in the actual driver's seat, not sitting in the passenger seat, because otherwise it's not going to work, is it?
Well, I recently had a lunch with one of the top salespeople who is now a principal in a business in Brisbane, and I had two other salespeople from another business who are quite good performers. They're all writing in excess of $1 million in commission, which is reasonably good.
Great.
And they said, we'd really love to meet this fellow. He's just a superstar salesperson. And when we sat down, the first thing that this fellow asked them was that, so tell me, where are you operating? And let's say, for example, it's in Paddington, They said, oh, look, we work in Paddington. Oh, okay. That's a pretty good market, isn't it? Yeah, it turns over a lot. How many houses are there in Paddington? Oh, I think there's about 3,000. I'm not quite sure. About 3, yeah. How many sold over the last 12 months? Oh, I think there was about 250, and he said, you don't know, do you?
Yep.
No, I don't. The other fellow was climbing on the table, just going, this is embarrassing. But the fundamentals of you've established within, and there's geographic and demographic marketing to build, clients. I get that.
Yeah.
But if your business is positioned in Paddington and you've done your research, one of the fundamentals of leadership is having a plan. So how big's the market? How much have I got? Might be zero if you're starting there.
Yeah.
What's my ambitions to get 5%, 10%, 15%? How many people do I need producing that number of sales to get there? That's just basic research.
Yeah.
And knowing that that's the plan, we're seeing at 5, want to go to 10. It's either I get the ones I've got better than what they are, or I bring in more talent.
Yeah.
So there's only 2 ways to grow market share to do that. And then looking at those who haven't quite made it and asking the question, who have I got with me that I wouldn't re-employ because they're not actually developing, not moving forward?
Yeah,
Have you done everything you possibly can to make sure that you've done the best to get the best out of them?
That's actually my motto, yeah.
Before you start pointing the finger at someone else.
Yeah.
So research and understanding your market and having the right people in the team is really
definitely
important. So selection is important, and don't just select because you have to. you're better off having a vacancy than the wrong person in your business.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about teams in another podcast episode because I think team culture is extremely important, but it's a very different topic too.
It is.
Well, leadership is very different to team culture, but it all basically intertwines together.
Very much intertwines, it does,
Well, Peter, on that note, thank you so much for coming in. I'm going to put all of your details on the caption, and then Tarsi, anybody who wants to reach out to you, because I think you're a great leader and a great mentor in leadership.
Thank you.
And anyone who wants to reach out to you to get to that next level, they can do so.
It's very kind of you. Thanks.
Thank you for coming on.
Today, Tarsi.
Thank you.
Okay.